I want you to take a moment and think, are there any things that your younger self would be shocked about? As I thought about this question, I thought about the 13-year-old me would probably be shocked at the clothes I wear. And I would never dream of wearing them. Or the thought in my spare time that I would probably choose to read a book more often than play FIFA. It's funny, many of us grow up thinking things like, I'll never do that. But then, well, we do it. And if we're honest with ourselves, for some of us, the person we thought we'd never be is exactly who we become. And some of us keep making the same poor decisions. It's almost like we just give up and then we keep giving in to whatever that thing is for us. And others of us do our best to hide it. Maybe it's a habit or a boundary we keep crossing. And instead of dealing with it, we cover it up. And we think no one will ever know. Or maybe we do something we thought we'd never do, but we're confident we won't do it again. And messing up or giving into temptation, however you want to phrase it, can be one of the quickest ways to convince ourselves to give up on our belief in our relationship with God. And I can tell you, we're all going to mess up sometime. Like, it's 100% going to happen. But Jesus faced the same pressures we are talking about, the same temptations. But even though he faced the temptations and knows how it feels like to be tempted, Jesus never gave in to temptations. But he does have something to say about it, even when we do, and how we can move forward even when we give in. He said, "For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him." Jesus didn't come to give up on us. When he came so he could not show us how mad God is, but he came to reveal how much he loves us. Even when we mess up or when we find ourselves in a difficult situation, Jesus came to save us from our tendency to stay where we are when we give in. And instead, he wants us to experience life and life in all its fullness. And here's some good news for you. This is important, so take a note. When you give in, you can start again. God is a God of second chances, so when you give in, you can start again. And when we think we've messed up again, and it's too many times, I want you to know God hasn't given up on you. When you give in, you can start again. Part of the following Jesus is believing that. And he's the only one who can actually say, you are condemned. Like, Jesus is king, he's perfect. And he's the only person who can tell us whether we're condemned or not. No one else. And guess what? He does the exact opposite. He says that we are not condemned. He's the only one with the authority to tell us what's true about me and you. The only one who could have given up on you. But he's decided to give you a fresh start. David, who is king of Israel, gives us something to think about. And before I tell you what it is he says, David has something in common with us. He messed up too, and sometimes pretty badly. What we're going to be reading is actually after one of the things that David did was he slept with a married woman. And the woman was married to one of his best soldiers, and after he slept with her, he killed her husband. And after that, he also had the faith that God would forgive him and save people from the condemnation. And he said, "Create me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me." We can learn from David when we make mistakes too. First, we can ask for a pure heart. This might not be something you've ever heard of before, but it means to have a clean conscience and the guilt to be gone. And we may have messed up, but we can ask God for forgiveness and to help us deal with what we went through and the consequences we might face. But as we trust God to help us, we can create a pure heart in us. And secondly, live with a steadfast spirit. Steadfast is another way of saying solid or committed. And what David is asking here is to help us remain committed to God, to make wise decisions as he now lives a new way of life. Okay, so here's the thing about all of this. God is the only one who can do it. If you and I try to do it on our own hands, like in our own hearts and keep them pure, we're going to fail. But Jesus won't fail us though. Because His resurrection shows this. The penalty of sin is death, but Jesus overcame death, revealing His power and His love for us. Yes, this means you can never run out of second chances. But just as importantly, it also means that you can now take the steps of asking for a pure heart, a steadfast spirit, and begin moving forward today. Jesus didn't just die for us to have second chances. He died so we might have eternal life through it. And we can start that today. And as we finish, I want you to remember, regardless of what you've done or how you feel stuck or how you feel today, when you give in, you can start again. And be confident God always loves you, and our mess ups don't have to define us.